Hi everyone, Coach Keon Smith here from Action Coach Guyana, where we grow good businesses into great businesses by transferring tools, strategies that the business owner can use to effectively run their operations, get more profits, enhance their team performance, and of course, get more time for themselves. We are continuing our conversations with business owners in and across Guyana. And today is no different. We're going all the way to the mining tongue of Linden. And we are going to be speaking with a visionary young man in more aspects than one. But today we're going to be focusing on the business that he currently owns and manages. Now, before we bring our guests on screen, I would like to just say thank you to all the persons who usually join our mission by tuning in to our live broadcasts, in addition to taking the time to like, love, and of course, share our video content to those persons who really can use what we do, or just by sharing it on their page in particular. So, without any further delay, please join me as we welcome our guest all the way from the mining town of Linden. Please welcome Mr. Leroy James, or as I've just found out, his designation. I don't know if I'm obligated to say Pastor Leroy James.
No obligation.
So, pleasant good day to you, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Good day to you as well, Kian. It is a privilege having this opportunity to have this chat, this conversation with you. It is my hope that it would um, argo well in the sense of providing for a greater volume of people the services we provide. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. James. Now, we're going to dive into the business at hand, and this is where you're going to be telling us all about the business that you have there in Linden. And this business, for persons whom they're now joining, it is called uh, Future Feature Star Phonics Center. Feature Star. I just want to make sure that I got that correctly. So, Mr. James, can you tell us all about Feature Star Phonics Center?
Okay, Future Star Phonics Center came into operation some 17 years ago, approximately. What had happened, it was born out of a desire to help children with reading challenges, reading disabilities, children who were considered slow learners. We had found that through applying certain sound phonetic strategies, children who were previously considered weak, uh, in record time, they developed to become very proficient readers. And it was also a discovery that when our children read better and comprehend better, it helps with their overall performance in all subject areas. And so, just by proceeding to help students who were challenged, all right, in, literally, we found that there were great improvements. So that was the initial vision. And that was how we came into, that was the desire to help that brought us into being. I think it's a good point for me to also say that we, for many years, have also been reaching out to adults who struggled with reading. And so we've had classes for adult learning for reading, grammar, comprehensions, compositions, the whole subject and verb agreement, and the basic things that would make them literally functional in society. They can write letters, do documents, and that kind of a stuff. And that was born, of course, out of my lifelong service to my community. I serve for over 25 years. I've been serving in my community, and in various capacities, I've served as a pastor. And I've discovered that when folks from the community come into the church setting, it was often embarrassing if you were to uh, call them suddenly, impromptu, to do perhaps do a portion of scripture reading. And
Yeah.
we discovered that a lot of our adults struggled significantly in this area as well. And so that prompted the desire to and the program to reach out to adults. And I can tell you that was very enlightening to us at Future Star Phonics. I could remember our first graduating class. Let me say this quickly. Our first graduating class of adults. Um, I was moved because we were working with these adults for a period of about 6 months, amongst whom were people who, prior to coming from to us, had not known the basic alphabet. All right, and they could recognize pretty much um, none of the words that are usually in public spaces: danger, exit, stop, and so on and so forth. And so we worked literally from scratch. I remember the first day dealing with one such parent, a student, that they could have read for the first time Pat and Roy
Right.
see the ball. I mean, they started crying. They broke down and started crying. And I kind of went around behind them because I didn't want them to see me crying too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was only then I realized that in some sense, they were blind while seeing because of this inability to read. So it was out of that place of concern, care, all right, and passion that we started Future Star Phonics Center.
Think that's a fantastic place to really start any journey, because it is with that passion and care that fuels your every move, especially with the desire to bring that level of upliftment, if the wanting of a better word, to those individuals. And while some persons may say that they're an adult and they've gone past life, so there's no need to read at this point, I think that's a testimony to the fact that it doesn't matter sometimes how old you are. Developing that new skill, having that ability to now read, and Patton Roy is such a significant book in the journey of a child's educational development, that it's really really significant. So I think what you're beginning to do, or what you have done, or for the community over the last 17 years, through the advent of Feature Star Phonics Center, is really really commendable. Now, what are some of the services other than, I know it's a phonics center and you're helping persons to read, but
Mm.
are there other subject areas that the center administers to either children and or adults?
Yes, thank you, Keon. There is, there. We are currently, and we have been doing this for a great number of years, because after we got into the phonics training, specifically phonics, in our first maybe 2 years, we began to see the need to help our students with math and the general English. So we have been doing what is considered in the school English A and English B. Uh, Back in the days, for the older folks, that used to be called uh, language or
English
literature,
literature.
English literature.
Yeah.
So we have been covering that basic spectrum of these core subjects.
Mhm.
Um, Students now coming into our institution can expect that wherever they are academically, our programs are geared to identify their specific needs. We do this by way of sample tests that we have. that helps our teachers assess the the abilities and the particular needs of students, and that allows for us to provide a level of individualized attention. You see, in our school systems here in Guyana, because we have an average about 28 to perhaps 32 students even in one classroom, that becomes actually close to impossible for our teachers to be able to provide that. There's a scheme that they must give attention to. There are timelines by which they must complete those schemes. In our scenario, we work with each student's pace, all right? And sometimes we have discovered that children are underperforming at school because they would have missed some foundational steps. They missed foundational steps. And so at school, they are now in grade, for example, they are in grade 5, and they are given the work that they are required to be able to handle and cope with at grade 5. But really, they miss some fundamentals in grade 1. And not having anyone to take the time to take them through that, they struggle right through their school life. It's really difficult and painful. So our institution steps in to fill that gap and to help identify where they're the blind sides, where they've been the misses, and
Yeah.
we walk them through those principles. We have found invariably, once that is attained, the same student who was considered a slow learner, late performer, and all these terminologies that are used sometimes even
Yeah.
discriminately um, to students, that child begins to perform. So for us, as much as we are here in a business, it is more about providing a service, because there are great benefits to us. There's a joy that we receive when we see children who were struggling with D's and so on are now in the brackets of the A's and B's.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent. So just really happy to know that the school has evolved from just phonics and you're adding other subject areas. I trust that as you continue to grow as well, that more of the critical learning areas of students, I know especially math in particular, many of us run from mathematics, but we do need it as well. So,
Yes.
uh, Mr. James, we have experienced an unprecedented pandemic. Nobody could have predicted what COVID has done and the impact it has, especially the negative impact on education here in
Yeah.
Ghana. Now, given the fact that they could not have been physical classes, how has Feature Star been able to still serve his its customers?
Okay. Well, let me hasten to agree with you that this pandemic has really taken the world by storm, and countries such as Guyana have really been on the negative receiving end. And I'm talking here specifically as it relates to the delivery of a good education. Um, we are forced to do things virtually. We are forced to become familiar with social media and tools that just maybe 10 months ago, just last year, for us were not considered that essential. And I'm speaking here nationally. Um, Coupled with the fact that we struggle here in Guyana because of the underdevelopment of the telecommunication systems and the internet, the strength of the internet that's available. We are trying, I know, to reach our students, but even in our school system, there is no one singular structured approach to how these students can be reached. Future Star Phonics Center has been also affected by the pandemic in that regard. But what we have sought to do and we are in the process of doing, is acquiring the necessary tools so that through services like these, we are currently contemplating and working on Zoom, all right, as a means of a possible means of reaching out to our children. We have been selectively, very selectively, still interfacing with some students. We have been, however, doing this with the strictest of health guidelines. They're required to sanitize, they're required to wear their protective equipment, their masks, and we provide the social distancing, we limit the time of gathering, and we limit the amount of students that we sit in any one space. All right. Um, and even that we know might only be a temporary plaster if this pandemic drags on. All right. We'll need to certainly advance our efforts in the technological field, beginning to use the social media in a greater dimension. One of the struggles we have, I have to admit, with that is many of our students are located in areas where this channel, this medium is not available to them.
Mhm.
It's not available to them at all. And so we try to prepare work and so on. It is in our plan to do things like give out handouts and things like that that can help as well. All right. But it is a struggle for all of us. It is a work in progress. But we are very confident that it is one that we will master, one that we will have a solid strategy to address. All right. But currently, we are we are doing a selective, very few students conforming to the health requirements. That's where it's at.
Understand. Definitely understand, and it's to the point where, at least for the remainder of 2020, the information in the air is that we may not have physical school until January 2021. And that is
Right.
also all very dependent on the scale at which the COVID 19 pandemic hits, whether we're able to control it or it, continues to uh, expand at an alarming rate. So these are things we definitely need to keep in mind, that we need to be prepared. And even after COVID 19 is still, how do we stay abreast with technology so that we can continue to deliver education to our students? As you mentioned, Mr. James, do have to struggle with the infrastructure that we have here with regards to internet connection, etc., to make sure that
But
we keep lobbying to make it as strong as possible. Now, my question is, in terms of the teachers that you have at your institute, if I may ask, I know it may fluctuate depending on student population, etc. How many teachers would you say that you have as part of your institution, and can you give us an idea of, you know, their experience?
okay, so I'll take the last part of the question first. Over the years, Future Star Phonics Center has really prided itself in employing some of the most qualified teachers in our community. We would, for example, we have what is considered a August, July, August summer program. And at that session, which can go for up to about 6 weeks, we would employ often some of who might be head HMs, head teachers in our school system. These are people who may have 25 years of experience and more. All right. Of course, we will have people at varying levels of experience, but always we try to get the best. And even after they would have come into our institution, we have in the time of orientation, we have a brief training so that they can come abreast with our methods, because our methods are proven methods. They have garnered great successes for us over the years. And I remember that sometimes for fun, I would say to some of my colleagues, these students, I would name students, and I would say to them, these students are going to be in our top 10 come next year. And I was doing that so they would understand. And these are students that would have obviously passed through our institution, and we saw their abilities and their development, and we knew that they would perform well. And very often that would be the case. So the so that's for the first part. We have teachers who I might agree collectively would have about at least 10 years of experience
Okay.
um, finding a mean. All right. Um, the other part of your question was you
Like
want
how
to give
many?
me
How many?
how many teachers. So our core staff is three persons. That's core staff. Auxiliary
Yeah.
staff are the staff that would fluctuate from time to time as we have programs, because we also have special programs at special times
Yeah.
of the year. All right.
Mhm.
And as per program, we can employ up to seven teachers, eight maybe.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So, it's really
Yeah.
good to hear that, the quality of not only the contents that are being delivered, but also the persons who are delivering those content. They're, persons who are well experienced.
Yeah.
Because
Trained.
teaching, in my opinion, requires a level of patience that the ordinary person may not have. Requires a level of understanding of the students in your class that you need to take your time to deliver the content to ensure that they understand it really well. So I think that's really fantastic. You have trained and experienced persons delivering the content. Now, you did mention some of the programs, the special programs, other than the summer program. Is there any other program that you like to highlight that you hold at Future Star?
All right. We provide special tutoring for children, like I said, that might be considered challenged in one way or the other. Um, one of the things, I'd like to say, Kian, to our viewers, is that we have found that if we can make these children love the books, all right, and become friendly with the books, uh, that goes a long way. So even though we would have employed from time to time, and we continue to employ teachers from our school system, one of the reasons for our training, or our orientational training with these teachers, who of course are trained teachers already,
Yeah.
is we try to focus on strategy and strategies and attitude. All right. Love for children, knowing how to address them, knowing how to identify when a child may be dyslexic, may have some kind of a disorder or the other. um, Understanding how to come down to that child's level. And like I said before, uh, we have many great and well-meaning teachers in our school systems,
Yeah.
but our current structure, the current classroom dynamics, would not at all allow for them, uh, however well-meaning, to be able to do these things. So what we do is that we keep our classrooms really small,
Yeah.
really small. All right, and that allows for the attention to each child.
Excellent. Excellent. So, you mentioned some really great points. I think, for persons who are listening out there, it's really small, intimate classrooms so that they can provide individual attention to your child and their children to ensure that they can continue to develop themselves and increase their ability to excel in the classroom. So, Mr. James, just finally, persons who are hearing out there, they're listening to you, they're taking in all that you're saying. Can you put it in a nutshell? What is like the number one reason why persons should come and bring their child to your phonics center.
Thank you, Keon. Okay, so viewers, I am really happy to have this opportunity to say to you that this institution, Future Star Phonics, has over the years, over 17 years, proven to turn grades from C's and D's to A's and B's. We have identified some unique strategies that helps your child to grasp whatever the deficiencies, whatever the challenges may be. And so I would say to you, if you have a child or children that you really want to get ahead, you think that they may be average students and they have the aptitude or whatever to do better, Future Star Phonics Center is the place to be. Maybe you have a child that in the classroom is considered to be below average, maybe underperforming. And for the life of you, you've spent a lot of monies, you've bought every conceivable book, you've taken them to all sorts of lessons, you even prayed and fasted, and you are not seeing the desired results. Future Star Phonics Center is the place to be. We take time to clinically analyze your child's needs, your child's unique challenges, and to help your child perform. So you want your child to do well, Future Star Phonics Center is certainly the place to be. Many have come and they've proven us to be um, to be certainly a place that transforms uh, our students' academic abilities.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. James. And just finally, as we go, persons would like, if they'd like to know exactly where you are, can you just reshare your location and how they can make contact with you? I know that we have some information scrolling on the screen, but some persons may just be in listen mode, so we want to make sure that they can hear where to find you and how to make contact.
Okay, thank you. Future Star Phonics Center is currently located in Redwood Crescent. Uh, that's Mackenzie Linden, 374 Redwood Crescent. There's a facility there that the facility that houses the center is adjoined to House of Prayer Assemblies Church. All right, so you might be more familiar with the church building. There's a section of that building that houses the center, and we would be honored to have you. You can contact us on cell number 628-2217. That number again, 628-2217. Or on our office number, you can get us on 444-2553. 444-2553. All right. You can also contact us via social media. We are available
Yeah.
on our Facebook page, and the number provided is available for all WhatsApp contact as well. So via WhatsApp, you can get us at that number, and we'd be more than glad to be able to have a meet with you or have a discussion with you. Our registration process is very simple; it's not complicated at all. Um, there are working details that we must know, and there's a form to be filled. We try to, as much as possible, negotiate and keep the cost minimal. We have had a record, unbroken record, of being one of the most economical, lowest costing institutions, I would dare say, in the country, certainly in this region and in Linden. All right. And so, because our goal is to reach the children, reach our students, and to help them perform.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. James. And it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. There's so much always to learn when you sit and you have a discussion, with business owners like yourself, understanding the dynamics of the business and the services that you offer. So, to also all the persons who are tuned in on our social media platforms, thank you very much for always providing that support when you like, love, and of course share the video. So, Mr. James, thank you very much for being here, and I trust that you have
Thank
a good day and continue to stay safe.
Just before we go, if I may, I'd like to just continue to ask Guyana to stay strong at this time. You know, this has been one of our most trying years in recent history, and we're all getting adjusted to all of the changes that this time demands. And so I would ask you to continue to stay close to your loved ones and families. Continue to value families. Continue to remember to love, remember to forgive, and remember to pray. We are glad to be able to share this time with you. Stay safe, Guyana. Let us observe all of the best health practices that we are being made aware of by our health practitioners. Let us support the efforts of our health authorities and governing authorities so that we can get through this difficult period together with as minimal casualties as possible. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. But now I have to thank you, Pastor, for those closing remarks, and stay safe as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kia.